Alright, so in this problem, I have 2 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x is equal to 8 to the power of x. So to solve this, I'm going to first rewrite 4 as 2 squared. So I have 2 to the power of x plus 2 squared to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 3 to the power of x. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of n to the power of m. And this is also equal to a to the power of m times n. So right here we have 2 to the power of 2 to the power of x, and I can switch to an x. So this is the same thing as 2 to the power of x to the power of 2. And 2 to the power of 3 to the power of x, I can switch x and 3. So this is going to equal 2 to the power of x to the power of 3. Now I'm going to let 2 to the power of x equal to y. So now I have y plus y squared is equal to y to the power of 3. And now to solve this, I'm going to rewrite this as y to the power of 3 minus y squared minus y is equal to 0. And I'm going to factor out y. So I get y times y squared minus y minus 1 is equal to 0. So this gives me two equations. I get y equals 0, and I get y squared minus y minus 1 is equal to 0. So y equals 0 is already a solution. And for y squared minus y minus 1 equals 0, if you use the quadratic formula and solve that, you get y equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. So now remember how we let 2 to the power of x equal to y. So first off, we have 2 to the power of x equals 0, and you can't take the power of a number and make it equal to 0, so there's no solution for this. Now we have 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2, and 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 minus the square root of 5 over 2. So first off, 1 minus the square root of 5 is negative, and a negative number divided by 2 is still negative. You can't take the power of a positive number and make it negative, so there's no solution for that. So the only solution that we can find is 2 to the power of x equals 1 plus square root of 5. And to solve this, I'm going to take the log on both sides. And I get x is equal to log of 1 plus square root of 5 over 2, over log 2, sorry. Alright, so in this problem, I have 4 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x plus 3 is equal to 130. So to solve this, first off, if I have something from a to the power of m times n, a to the power of m plus n, this is equal to a to the power of m times a to the power of n. So 4 to the power of x plus 3, that's going to equal 4 to the power of x times 4 to the power of 3, which is equal to 130. And now, if I factor out 4 to the power of x, I get 4 to the power of x times 1 plus 4 to the power of 3 is equal to 130. And 4 to the power of 3, that's going to equal 64. So I have 4 to the power of x times 1 plus 64 is equal to 130. And 1 plus 64 is 65. So I have 4 to the power of x times 65 is equal to 130. And now if I divide both sides by 65, I get 4 to the power of x is equal to 2. And from here, to solve this, I'm going to first rewrite 4 as 2 squared. So I have 2 squared to the power of x is equal to 2. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. So 2 to the power of 2x, that's going to equal 2 to the power of 2 times x, which is simply 2x, is equal to 2. And 2 is the same thing as 2 to the power of 1. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m is equal to a to the power of n, this means that m is equal to n. So I get 2x is equal to 1. Now, if I divide both sides by 2, I get x is equal to 1/2. So now, to check, my original equation was 4 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x plus 3 is equal to 130. So 4 to the power of x, well, 4 to the power of 1/2 is 2. So I have 4 to the power of 1/2 plus 4 to the power of 1/2 plus 3 is equal to 130. 4 to the power of 1/2 plus 3 is the same thing as 4 to the power of 5 over 2. Actually, sorry, this is supposed to be 7 over 2. And 4 to the power of 7 over 2 is 128. Sorry, 2 to the power of 128 is 130, and I get 130 is equal to 130. Alright, so in this problem, I have 2 to the power of 10 plus 2 to the power of 10 is equal to 2 to the power of x. So to solve this, I'm going to factor out 2 to the power of 10. So I get 2 to the power of 10 times 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 to the power of x. And 1 plus 1, that's equal to 2. So I get 2 to the power of 10 times 2 is equal to 2 to the power of x. And now if I divide both sides by 2, I get 2 to the power of 10 is equal to 2 to the power of x divided by 2. And 2 here, this is the same thing as 2 to the power of 1. If I have something in the form a to the power of m over a to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m minus n. So 2 to the power of 10, this is going to equal 2 to the power of x minus 1. And now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m is equal to a to the power of n, this means that m is equal to n. So in this case, 10 is equal to x minus 1. Now if I add both sides, 1 on both sides, I get 11. Sorry, x is equal to 11. And now to check, my original equation was 2 to the power of 10 plus 2 to the power of 10 is equal to 2 to the power of x. X is 11, so I get 2 to the power of 10 plus 2 to the power of 10 is equal to 2 to the power of 11. And 2 to the power of 10 plus 2 to the power of 10, that is 2 to the power of 11. So this is right.